What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 31. And today we're going to break down week 6. With us tonight, first from Aberdeen, New Jersey, he is, in fact, the reigning, defending, undisputed world heavyweight Bigs champion, a 3-time champion, and our esteemed commissioner, Ben Nisman. Benny, how are you this evening?
I'm good, Joe, and I'm proud to be here. As always, it's just great to see everybody competing again, doing what we do best, and it's been exciting. This past week was no different. A lot of intense, close matchups, a lot of guys just grinding it out. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, it was a very, very interesting week across the league. We saw one major blowout. Everybody else was just sort of in the middle, in the swamp, sort of slogging it out with each other. With us as well from, is it Paramus, New Jersey these days?
Hillsdale these days.
Hillsdale. He is, in fact, the manager with the greatest regular season in the history of the Bigs. It is Mike Haber. Mike, how are you this evening, sir?
I am doing great. Happy to be here and love staying up late with you guys, even though I appreciate you guys starting this thing off early for me.
Yeah, man, no sweat. We'll fit it in where we can get it in, right? That's what we're gonna make happen. Now let's get this thing started. I am going to point out the fact that I do not have the crown on anymore. I am no longer in first place. And we're going to start with my matchup here this evening. I took a 10-8 loss from James McCloskey. Now, on Sunday, home runs, I had a 1 home run lead, and James tied that. Steals were tied, and James untied that. Losses, I was up 1, and I untied that, and saves were tied. So James got a 2-category untying here and tied this one up. It's a 3-category swing. Close categories this week for James. He won by 3 doubles, the steal that he got on Sunday, the win, 3 walks by a pitcher, and .07 on the whip. For me, I got him by 2 runs, 2 errors, a save, and we tied in home runs by a batter and losses, and home runs by a pitcher. On James's bench this week, Benjamin Nisman, he went 12 for 61.
Okay, not terrible for me. 196.
197.
Whoa!
Oh
He
man,
nailed one on the nose last week. He comes within 1 on the first one this week.
I really should have had that one though, because I almost said that.
Awesome.
He had 2 runs, which would have tied the category, a double, a home run, which would have won the category, 5 RBIs, a walk, and 21 strikeouts. The home run is on the 21st on Saturday. We'll see if this would have gotten in. It is Alec Boehm here with a 2-run shot, 1 for 4. Justin Turner was 3 for 4 that night. And Nelson Cruz was 1 for 3. You probably want him in there, right? Yeah. His moves this week, he picked up Pavin Smith, who went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, and he dropped him next day. He picked up Will Myers, who went 0 for 4 with a walk and 3 strikeouts, and then dropped him the next day as he went 3 for 5 with a run, a double, and 3 RBIs. And then he also dropped Christian Vasquez. 2 moves, 2 hitters. That's it. His most valuable player is Freddie Freeman. 323 average, 364 on base, 4 runs, 4 doubles, 8 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. His least valuable hitter is Alec Boehm. 083 average and on base, 5 strikeouts and an error. Perhaps that's why he was riding the pine the day he homered.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't blame him. The Cy Young is Joe Musgrove. 7 innings, a win, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a 1 whip. That dude has been really good all year. A 190 ERA, an 094 WHIP, a strikeout an inning, and 5 wins for the Padres. That is impressive. That is impressive. Where did he draft him? The 4th round. Wow. Top 60 pick for this guy.
Yeah.
Good call. Good call. His Cy Yuck is Merrill Kelly, 7 innings, a loss, a homer, 7 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 14.14 ERA, and a 2.43 WHIP. Gross. On my bench, Ben, I went 6 for 16.
Nice job. I mean, no, it's not a nice job.
No.
Let me think. 6 for 18 would be 30, 382.
375. He's in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
4 runs, 3 doubles that would have tied the category, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. I would have had to be perfect with my doubles. Tuesday, honestly, is one of the most frustrating days in the world. My whole team hit 175 with a 267. But here's Mike Yastrzemski down here, 3 for 4, 2 doubles, 3 runs, 2 RBIs. I picked him up for the series in Colorado and didn't play him in the middle game, and that's on me. That is my bad, because I could have played him instead of Nimmo, who was in the doubleheader, or Carlson, who was in the doubleheader, or Chisholm, who was, I think that was the game against Adon. So, like, I'm waiting for my turn to beat the crap out of that guy in Washington that's getting the crap beat out of him all the time, and it's just not happening.
So you went with that over the Colorado.
For Yastrzemski in Colorado.
You steered away from that plan.
Yeah.
With Yastrzemski. Okay.
Yeah. For my moves this week, I traded Chris Taylor and Yandy Diaz for Jordan Romano and Dylan Carlson. We talked about that last week. I dropped Jonathan Loizaga for Aaron Ashby, then dropped Ashby for Diego Castillo because the Mariners were playing in Toronto and Drew Steckenrider is not vaccinated, so he was put on the restricted list and wouldn't be playing in that series. And somebody already owned Paul Sewald, so I went and got Diego Castillo. And then I added Mike Yastrzemski, 1 for 4 with a 2-run homer the day I picked him up. I dropped Joey Bart. Picked up Darren Ruff, 0 for 3 with an RBI, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. That guy is my little like magic dust that I just throw on top of every single week. I dropped Mike Yastrzemski for him. Dropped Will Vest for David Peterson. Picked up Jonathan Dazo, 1 for 4 with a run and an RBI. Pick up a Colorado guy. Just find one. I added Clark Schmidt, who has not thrown the ball for the Yankees yet since I picked him up. I was asking Mike Haber before we started, does this guy play or is he just, like the bench warmer, literally? I dropped Darren Ruff for him. I dropped Diego Castillo for Ryan Thompson, 2 innings, a walk, 2 strikeouts of 1 whip and a relief appearance. Dropped Luke Voigt for Spencer Strider, an inning, 2 whip and 1 relief appearance. Dropped David Peterson because they were saying he was going to go in Colorado. He fucking didn't, but I still don't want him in San Francisco right now, so pass on both of those. For Harold Ramirez. Dropped Ryan Thompson for Steven Matz. More on that guy in a minute. And dropped Harold Ramirez. Dropped Drew Steckenrider for Edwin Rios, who hit me a solo homer on Sunday to tie the category. That's how you get that done, boys. I used 12, and it was 5 hitters, 2 starters, and 5 relievers. My MVP this week is Jose Abreu, 308 and a 438, 4 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 5 RBIs, 5 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Welcome to the team. That's what we do here. The least valuable player was Wander Franco, 067 and a 167, 2 runs, an RBI, a steal, and 2 walks. And now he's day-to-day with this quad tightness. I've also got Dylan Carlson, who hit the IL, and Jazz Chisholm is day-to-day with a hamstring. That's like 3 of my speed dudes. All just decided to drop off right now. Ouch.
Yeah.
My Cy Young is that man, Justin Verlander. 6 innings, win, 8 strikeouts, nothing earned, 1 whip. Guys, he's throwing to a 1.22 ERA.
Disgusting.
Quality.
Yeah.
Not
Totally.
too shabby after Tommy John.
Yeah.
The Cy Yuck is Reed Detmers, and I should have seen the regression coming. but it was in Texas, and it just felt way too good. 3 2/3, 2 homers, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 736 and a 136 whip. All right, we'll start the clock, gentlemen, as we begin. Mike Haber, what did you see this week out of me and Mr. McCloskey, the new dad? Congratulations.
Yes, congrats, James McCloskey. This was a great showdown. Two great managers, two great teams. It was definitely a down week for you. So the fact that you were able to really keep it close, I was really impressed. You got the categories that you usually get and needed to get. Like you kept your strikeouts low, you kept your errors low, your walks were high. You destroyed them in triples, you beat them in relief appearances. Like some of those fringe categories that if you are having a bad week or a down week like you did this week, you can still compete and you can still keep it really close. So I thought that was really impressive, going for some of those under the radar categories.
There was a
And
point where I didn't think I was going to win save. Jordan Romano was sick with the bubble guts this week, and he missed the first half of the week, and then got me 3 saves in the final 4 days.
Wow.
So, thank you very much, Mr. Romano.
Whoever sent you him in a trade.
Yep. Thank you, Costas.
He got a random save from Robert Suarez, I think.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, his bullpen isn't bad. David Bednar and Giovanni Gallegos on a good weeks are going to give him saves.
Yeah.
And Rowan Wick or Michael Givens could be the guy at any random point in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then Suarez throws in his random save.
Yeah, it was closer than it should have been.
I just had to mute myself because I burped really loudly. So.
Nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that, actually.
Yeah, I figured it would be better than actually doing it. In any event,
I usually
Benji,
just take out the earphones if I have to.
Benji, how are you feeling about my 10-8 loss here? This is 2 in a row for me.
How many ads did McCloskey have again?
2.
2. So the opponent prior to you used 0, and this one used 2, which firstly using 2 ads and beating Joe Schubert in fantasy while having a baby is pretty impressive. So I give him a lot of kudos because odds were very much against him, and his team really performed. And is this matchup's story at the end? Is it more about the McCloskey win or the Joe Schubert loss? Because it's surprising, but it's 2 in a row for you, Joe. It's nowhere near time to panic, not even close. But if this kind of travels with the injuries and 15 weeks, who knows? So I find it very interesting that this happened. These were 2 opponents I expect Joe to finish over 500 against. So that's what I take out of it most. And of course, McCloskey doing what I expect. Is staying in the hunt, staying right there. Currently 3 games over. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected from him after 6 weeks. He's got a lot of work to do here. He's got a great offense, and I think his offense is going to carry him. But we'll see as we get into deeper competition. Let's see, who does he have next week?
Yeah, that was something I wanted to start talking about here because now we're 6 weeks in, and for a personal perspective, this was the week last year that I lost Mike Trout. So I had come this far, keeping pace with Mike Haber until this point in the season, and then it got derailed. So here we go again with Wander and Jazz both going down, Carlson hitting it, and Kittredge. All 4 of those guys just went down for me. We'll see how I'm able to navigate. That being said, for James the next few weeks, he's got Costas this week, Ari next week, Frank, and Lebo. Those are his next 4 opponents. Mike Haber, how would you feel if that was your 4 that you were facing?
You said who was right before Ari?
Costas right
Costas.
now, Ari, Frank, and Lebo.
I mean, he should win. Should win 3 out of 4 of those, in my opinion.
I don't know.
I
don't know. I
think you
think
would feel that way in most seasons. But Frank's team is really good this year. He's been really unlucky. We'll talk about more of, what's going on with him later on in the show. Lebo's team is competitive. Costas's team is still competitive. He's right around 500. I think if you get out of it 2-2, you're happy. Ben, you with me on that?
That's exactly what I was thinking. If he can get out 2-2, he's in good shape. Even if that means 2-2 and under 500 amongst that, like even if after those 2 matchups, that added up to 3 under, would put him at 500 after those 4 weeks. You take that.
Yeah. I think the goal should be to go 3-1 in that group. That's not what I'm like. If it's me, salute.
Thank you.
Plus 2.
That should be the goal, is to win 3 of those 4. But to go 2-2, I'd be happy with that. For me, guys, I've got Christian this week. I've got Ben's Bodacious Ball Club next week. I've got Bobby Russo after that, and Jason. That is a gauntlet, and that's really going to be a proving ground for this team. I can't wait to play Ben. It's going to be fun.
I like the you and Christian matchup this week too.
Right? 1
and 2.
That's
great.
That's fun.
Yeah. He's going to be a really, really tough opponent. I just hope I can keep pace. This is another group of 4 where I just want to maintain 500 and just keep rolling, because I stacked a bunch of wins in the first week. Let's just keep that going, right?
Yeah.
So these last 2 weeks, I'm 5 under. That's okay.
Yeah, the first third of your season was as solid as you could ask for. Mm-hmm. The beginning. You got to kind of get through this latter part, and you should be okay.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next matchup, boys, and that is going to be Christian Wood taking down a 13-7 win over Matt Losey. Now, on Sunday, Matt flipped runs. He was down 1 in that category. They were tied in RBIs. Matt takes that one down. He was down 2 walks, and he takes that down by a substantial margin. We'll have to take a look at Sunday, because Matt's flipping all kinds of stuff here. On base was tied, and he took that down. And he secured batting average. He was up 7 ticks there. The one thing that Christian did salvage was innings. He was down 2/3 of an inning and obviously threw a whole bunch of dudes. Close categories, Christian wins by the triple. He wins by 2 homers, a stolen base, 5 strikeouts. Win, a loss. For Matt, he wins by those 2 runs, the 1 RBI we mentioned, the 3 walks, 2 ticks on the batting average, 9 ticks on the on-base percentage, and they tied in walks given up by a pitcher. For Christian on his bench, Benjamin, this one's going to be easy for you. It's 4 for 20.
Thank you. It's good old 200.
Yes, sir. With 3 runs, a double, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 2 errors. The 3 runs would have flipped the category. Garcia on Tuesday was the play. Let's take a look. Let's see. Adolis Garcia here with 2 runs, a double, a walk, and an error. Errors do not matter. It was a 2 for 3, and the play is Jared Walsh here, not in the lineup. Interesting miss. I wonder if we would be able to find anything out from that.
And they were playing each other, so there's not really an excuse,
Yeah, that is a good point. That is a really good point. Don't know, but that definitely at least ties this category.
Yeah.
And then who knows? For his moves this week, he dropped Michael Pineda for Vidal Brujan. He also dropped Brandon Drury. He picked up Keegan Thompson, who was the guy who was in that trade. Didn't he trade him to Costas?
Oh, did he? Yeah,
I
it's
feel
possible.
like that was in that deal. He dropped Colin McHugh and James Karinchak. He picked up Noe Ramirez. He dropped Omar Narvaez for Vince Velasquez. Dropped Vidal Brujan for Isak Paredes. Dropped Vince Velasquez for Sheldon Noisy. Dropped Sheldon Noisy for Jesus Sanchez. I was pretty upset about that too, by the way. I was going to add him, but oh well. He dropped Isak Paredes for Nicky Lopez. 8 ads, 5 hitters, 2 relievers, and 1 starter. No move on Sunday. I don't know if he could have done anything to get a category. His MVP this week is Jeremy Pena, 333 average, 364 on base, 2 runs, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, a walk, 6 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is Tyler Stevenson, 238 with a 238, 9 strikeouts, only 1 RBI and a double. The Cy Young goes to Liam Hendricks, the big trade, 4 innings, 4 saves, 7 strikeouts. Welcome back. This guy has 4 relief appearances and an 080, an 075 whip. Yeah, that's what you want. That's
Yeah, honestly, man, I'm one of those guys that was really concerned about the return for Christian on that trade. So like, I'm the fool right now. You know, I definitely thought getting Mullins, and he could have gotten Carlson. Instead, he got Kalenic in that deal, and the fact that Mondesi gets hurt makes it. I mean, very interesting trade that I thought. I was concerned about Christian, but he's in first place for a reason. He's done really well so far.
He really, really has. This is one of the best moves of the year. This guy has, if you think about it, he has 13 saves on the season, but we have seen 2 weeks where he put up 9 in those 2 weeks. He went 5 for 5 the week against Jason. He goes 4 for 4 this week against Matt. That's exactly what you traded for. And yeah, he gave you 1 crap week in between those 2. Okay, he might give you 1 more crap week the rest of the year. We'll see.
Yeah.
For Matt this week on his bench, Mike, I'm going to give you this one. Oh wait, you did the research on this one. Never mind.
I did.
Benji, man. It is 16 for 42.
Okay. Oh man, this one's tough. 326. I don't know.
381 with 10 runs, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 2 errors. I got a note here that
stuff.
Yeah, the 3 homers is the only thing that plays, but this is a ton of stats on the bench. Looks like he had way too many infielders this week and couldn't get the right ones into the lineup. Let's take a look at the team here. We're looking at Choi, McMahon, France, Urias, Bogarts, and Gleyber Torres. Okay, so Gleyber's no longer on the team. Right? He is did he get outright dropped?
No, he's on my team.
Traded.
Oh, he got traded. That's right. Okay.
Traded.
Yes, with JD Martinez. We'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's doing things to rectify this problem. I see. Okay. His transactions this week, he dropped whatever a Holby Milner is for a Joe Bob. A Joe Bob Herget. Mr. Haber, you can't just drop these things into our research without my prior knowledge. What is his
I didn't know I put a note in there. I didn't know his first name.
His name is Jimmy. His name is Jimmy.
You wrote Joe Bob?
He really did. He really wrote Joe Bob.
That's great.
Jimmy I was hoping Joe would read it.
I totally did.
Great research. Hard-nosed research. I should be talking, but you know.
He also added Caleb Thielbar. He dropped Blake Trinan, who's on the 60-day IL, probably going to miss the season, for our old friend Penn Murphy. He then dropped Thielbar for Kurt Casale. He picked up Bobby Bryan Abreu. He dropped the Joe Bob for the Will Vest. He dropped Gio Urshela. Drop Kirk Casale for Austin Nola and Drew Smiley for Scott Efros. 8 ads, 6 relievers, and 2 hitters. His MVP this week is the final week he'll have of JD Martinez, a 500 average and on base, 7 runs, 4 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. His least valuable hitter is Tommy Pham, 105 average and a 190 on base, a run, an RBI, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The Cy Young, so Michael Kopech is apparently real. 7 innings, a win, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, nothing earned in 043. He was perfect through like 5 2/3 or something. It was a beautiful start against the Yankees, and it was in Yankee Stadium. He was wonderful last night. The Cy Yuck, the guy that's going today, Chad Kuhl, 3 innings, a loss, a homer, a walk, a 15 ERA, and a 3 WHIP. He has gone 3 1/3 so far, only 1 earned run in Pittsburgh. That is the matchup, boys. We'll set the timer. Ben, I'm going to start with you on this one. What did you see this week? And congratulations go to Christian, doesn't he?
Yeah, well-earned win here. Playing against a weaker manager, playing against his weaknesses, playing to the score. Unfortunate for him that he's not able to capitalize as much on Sunday, because I feel I was personally surprised that so many stats were flipped in Matt's favor, whereas he's been on the bad end of that luck most weeks so far. But what I'm seeing with Matt is just he's a desperate manager right now. He's in trouble, and the term, it's getting late early.
Mm-hmm.
That's it right now. If he doesn't beat me this week, I'm gonna say it's done. I think he needs to win that quickly. Wow. And that's why I thought the trade was a big mistake, because I don't think waiting for guys that are injured right now is going to help him enough. Like, he's over 20 stats from a playoff spot. There's 15 weeks left. That's a good amount of time, but he needs to start crushing soon. If he takes a loss from me, I'd say that's it. It's too much, because then he needs too much success. He needs to get on too much of a streak. He still has plenty of opponents that are really good that he hasn't played yet. And he would need to string a lot of wins in a row. And he needs to avoid teams that are hot going against him when they're high. So I just don't see it. So like I said, if he's able to take one from me, even if it's a 10-9, he's still good. He's still okay. But I think he's definitely in trouble. And on the other side, Christian's, go ahead, please.
Well, he's 35 under right. And before we move on to Christian's team and give him a ton of praise for this week, I think covering the trade right now should be its focus. Mike Haber, you were the other side of this trade. You are receiving JD Martinez, Gleyber Torres, and Trevor Rogers. Struggling pitcher in Miami with an ERA north of 5 and a WHIP north of 1.5. Gleyber Torres is having an okay bounce back season, if we're honest. 5 homers and 19 RBIs, but no steals, and 235 is the batting average currently. And JD Martinez, who's day-to-day with some sort of back spasm, that's not great. 349 average, 5 homers, 20 RBIs. This is what you're expecting from this guy. On the other side, you're giving up Anthony Bender, the closer in Miami, who has 6 saves and a 4.50 ERA. Michael Wacha, the starter in Boston, a 1.76 ERA and 22 strikeouts over 30 innings. Jeffrey Springs, the starter in Tampa, a 1.32 ERA over 27 innings with a strikeout an inning and an 0.80 WHIP. And the big piece is Chris Sale, the buy low for the injured player. We'll talk about this just from Matt's perspective. We'll get to Mike's side when we cover Mike's matchup. So, Mike, how do you feel about this being beneficial for Matt?
So when we were having our first conversations, he had mentioned a couple of priorities for him as far as desperation and how to bounce back and how to flip his team around. He said, first of all, he's got the logjam going on in the infield, and he wants to kind of clear that clutter out. And then he said that he wants stronger starting pitching. And some relief help as well. So I was like, okay, I've been looking to fill this left field hole for a while, but we're not talking about me right now. So for him, he got Jeffrey Springs, who I think is, they've been building this guy up, his pitch count and his innings. And he almost went 6 innings the other day, shutout baseball. I'm upset to give this. This is actually the piece that I think I'm most upset to give up right now. And he's getting this. I think he could be a top flight starter for Tampa. He misses a lot of bats. He is, I don't know. He's been really reliable for me all year.
And could potentially get a lot of run support when he pitches. That's the days that the Tampa Bay Rays offense goes crazy. It's happened.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking now is he gets Springs and Waka to help boost his starting pitching right now. He's got a potential closer in Bender, and he's got Chris Sale waiting in the wings. And I hear what you're saying, that it's, if you're in last place.
Looks real. This Springs kid looks real.
Yeah.
Got a really nasty chase rate. He's not getting hit very hard. His expected ERA is 2.5, 2.25. Yeah, this is the makeup of a really good pitcher. And look, we've seen the Rays do this before. Blake Snell, we've seen David Price, Chris Archer, Matt Garza, fucking James Shields. Like, we've seen all these dudes come through.
Slam dunking.
Right? So, like, this could be the next guy. McClanahan and Rasmussen. Like, all these guys are probably all going to be the next set of guys. So, yeah, this could very well be the breakout. You also gave him Michael Waka. Okay. I mean, I'm not expecting the world from this. So Springs is a piece for now.
And a closer.
Sale is and a closer. I tend to like the deal. If pitching was the thing that he absolutely needed to focus on, then this is a good deal. Ben, how do you think? How do you feel?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, I think again, I don't see when you could get more potentially that isn't Sale. Maybe you can avoid giving up one of those big hitters. I think the fact that Glaber gets thrown in there is what makes Mike now a lot more dangerous. So he did a good job. Mike, I mean, we're not talking about Mike, but I think my big worry with Matt is that I get that he fixed the need, but he might have given away too much. I mean, when I looked at his lineup today, I know I have a bad.
Did we just lose Ben?
Yeah, he froze.
All right. Well,
lineup, Joe. So I shouldn't be talking, but you hear me?
Okay, I think we're back, Ben. Yeah, we got you back, Ben.
We see you.
Sorry, did you guys lost me for a second?
Yeah, we lost you for a moment there. So you were saying that you think you have a bad lineup, but you were comparing yours with Matt here.
Yeah, and I'm thinking most of these lineups that I've been facing week to week, I've been afraid of. I'm not really afraid of this lineup. There's maybe one or two guys, and Bogarts is one of them, and he doesn't even play today. So I don't even have to face him for 7 days. Yeah. So I'm thinking I understand that the goal was to add, to the problem, but cutting potentially your weapons offensively, there's really not really a good cornerstone in that offense now. Not enough, in my opinion. But he did what he had to do to improve one need. But I think he might find out that he's going to have another need pretty soon. If not, he'll find out immediately.
Yeah, this will be a good test for this new offense without JD Martinez. Shohei Ohtani now becomes the sort of piece. That's the guy, and he's hitting 259. He's got plenty of RBIs,
right.
9 homers, 6 steals. Like, that'll keep him in a lot of games. Let's move on to Christian here. He had himself a great week pitching-wise. I mean, 71 innings. He throws a 2.15 with 75 strikeouts, 8 saves. Well done. absolutely well deserving. You've had an unbelievable first 6 weeks in this league, and congratulations at being the new leader in the clubhouse, guys. Anything to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, you're
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
okay. I was just gonna say you nailed it on the head, Joe. He's been fabulous for a rookie. He's not playing like a rookie. He's not playing like a 20-year-old. He's playing like a grizzled vet, and he's playing the game well. Um, he acknowledges when he has a hiccup or a miss. Being critical of yourself this early is common, and it's a good sign. It means he's competitive. It means he's focused. It means that he expects more of himself, and these are all different attributes of a potential champion. And obviously, anything can happen once you're in a playoff. We've learned that year in and year out. But right now, he's playing with house money because it's his first year, and he's playing with all of it, and he's doing a great job. And I hope he's proud. I hope that he's not underestimating this group and saying like, I'm in this league. This league is a joke. I'm in first place. This is going to be a nothing. It's not always like this, but he's proving that this is not. He's not in over his head.
Mike?
Yeah, I was gonna say because I was the one following or researching this matchup, and the only pitching stats that were really in question were those walks, the wins and losses. But like, it felt like the entire time that Matt had no chance, even though some of these categories were close pitching wise. I just felt Christian running away with it from the beginning.
I saw it too. I saw the big lead that he had going into Sunday, which was like 18-2 or something ridiculous like that. And Matt did a great job of mitigating this loss.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank him for that, because otherwise it would have been like a really big lead for Christian rather than just a 1-game lead going into our matchup.
And you know what's crazy too is like, this is one of those like wins that you actually are disappointed by, like if you're Christian, because you're up 18-2. Like, I mean, for me, I'd take a W no matter what, but like, this is a disappointment on a Sunday.
Yeah, not doubling this up is the really disappointing part of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But again, why it's okay is because of, like, I feel bad saying this, but it's who the opponent is. Mm-hmm. If it was missing out on a chance of Kabashian Costas or a Frank or a Mike Haber or a Jason Ashby, then it's a little bit more important, because like we want to keep those guys and do as close to bury them. I hear your explanation of how it's important for Christian to fatten up while he still can, but he has nothing to worry about. And the fact that it was that opponent right now, he did what he had to. It's fine.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next matchup. And Benjamin, this is yours. Congratulations on your 12-8 win over Josh Haber this week. On Sunday, the strikeouts, Ben, you had a 1 strikeout lead and you ended up losing that category. You had a 2-point batting average lead. You ended up losing by 3 ticks. And you had an 8-tick lead on the on-base percentage and ended up losing that by 8 ticks. I'm sorry, 9 ticks. The close categories, you won by 3 runs, 3 walks by a batter, 7 ticks on the whip. That flipped on Sunday as well. For Josh, he won by 2 triples, the steal, 5 strikeouts by a batter, which flipped on Sunday, the 3 batting average points, and the 9 on base percentage points. Ben, on your bench this week, 6 for 48.
Wow, nice.
I was going to say, man, before you even said the number, it felt like a good week on my bench. Like every day, it felt like I was like, I think I got it. Like I'm not feeling it with this guy, and I bench him. It tend to work out, and I think that was part of the reason why I did well this week. 6 for 48. Man, it goes in evenly. It's a 1 for 8. Uh, 186. I don't know.
So 1/8 is 1/2 of 250, which is 1/4, so it's 125.
Yeah. 125. Duh. You're so right.
You left 2 runs, 5 doubles, 8 RBIs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts on the bench. It was a great number. You had 6 hits, and 5 of them were doubles on the bench.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Like,
Which
that's
did,
just
well, yeah,
that's
when you
just
had
silly
this,
luck.
I think I
And you
led
had
our
20 doubles in the
yeah.
lineup.
Holy.
I might have led our league in doubles this week.
You did. You did
Yeah.
with 20. You have the most in the league for 1 week season,
Wow.
including week 1, which was 10 days long. Yeah.
I broke the record.
Just for this season. The all-time record is a bit higher.
Oh.
You'll find that out at Extra Innings next time. We'll go over the record book. Your moves this week. You traded away Gene Segura for Miles Michaelis. We talked about that last week. You dropped Patrick Corbin for Griffin arms flailing Jacks. 2 innings, a strikeout, nothing earned, an 050 whip, and a 1 relief appearance. Matt Whistler gets dropped for Anthony Santander. 3 for 4, 3 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 3 RBIs, a walk, and unfortunately an error. But that's a hell of a day. You dropped Griffin Jacks for Ramon Urias, Paolo Espino for Trent Grisham, Eddie Rosario. Bye-bye. He's not going to be back for a while. For Frank Schwindel, you dropped Ramon Urias for Colin McHugh, 2/3 of an inning and a relief appearance. You dropped Fran Schwindel for Sam Henkes, and you dropped Trent Grisham for Matt Moore, an inning, 2 walks, 9 ERA, 3 whip, and a relief appearance. The MVP this week, you have a lot of candidates, but the answer is probably going to be Gary Sanchez. 333 with a 364, 2 runs, 4 doubles, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is J.P. Crawford, a 125 and a 160, 2 runs, a double, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Taylor Rogers, 3 1/3, 3 saves, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 120 whip, and 3 relief appearances. The Cy Young is Craig Kimbrell, 3 1/3, 4 saves, a homer, a walk, 8 strikeouts, an 8.10 ERA, and a 150 whip with 4 relief appearances. On the other side,
Santander is the MVP.
Okay. 333 with a 429, 4 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 5 RBIs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and an error.
I don't win runs without him. I think he's the most pivotal guy that I had. I realized the error, but I think flipping that category and taking a tie from the other was huge.
Okay. All right. On Josh's bench this week, Ben, he went 12 for 27.
Yeesh.
Wow. Okay. For 472.
444. With 6 runs that would have flipped the category, 7 doubles, that wouldn't have mattered. He had twice as many doubles on his bench than he had in his lineup.
Whoa.
He had 3 doubles. That is horrible. That's atrocious. It's horrible. A triple.
So any of these benches come back to play? I mean, how many runs did he have on his bench?
6. 6 runs, 7 doubles, a triple, a homer, 4 RBIs, 3 walks. That would have tied the category, but he would have had to be perfect.
Yeah.
2 strikeouts and an error. It's really the runs, and the big day was on Sunday. Sunday he went 5 for 11 on the bench. Here is Manny Machado on the bench. 3 doubles, 3 runs scored, a triple, 2 RBIs. I guess he's playing not to lose average and on base percentage.
And strikeouts, he said.
Okay. But man, that hurts to see that the tying 3 runs are right there. Ouch. His moves this week. He drops Tony Santillan for Zach Jackson, an inning in the third, a win, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 2.25 whip, and a relief appearance. He drops Ben Gamble for Trevor Richards, a third of an inning, a homer, 2 walks, a strikeout, a 27 ERA, and a 9 whip, and 1 relief appearance. He drops Richards for Tyro Estrada. He drops Tyro Estrada for Austin Nola, over 4 with an RBI. He drops Austin Nola for Jacob Barnes, an inning and a relief appearance. He drops Zach Jackson for Steven Wilson. He drops Steven Wilson for MJ Melendez, 2 for 4 with a triple and a strikeout. He drops Jacob Barnes for Brent Suter, 8 used, 3 batters, 5 relievers. His MVP this week, even despite the benching on Sunday, is Manny Machado, 348 with a 348, 3 runs, a double, a homer, 2 RBIs, a steal, 4 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter goes to Mike Haber's best friend, Alex Verdugo, 176 with a 222, 4 runs, a double, an RBI, a walk, a strikeout, and an error. The Cy Young is Mackenzie Gore, 6 innings, a win, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 150, and an 083. The Cy Yuck is a lot of dudes in the bullpen, apparently. Trevor Richards was bad, the third of an inning, a homer, 2 walks, 27, and a 9. Miguel Castro was bad. Brent Suter was bad. Yeah, there's plenty of them. Guys, we'll start the clock here and let's talk about the win that was for Ben Nisman. Benny, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm just relieved because I guess with how bad the offense has been performing, they were finally doing to an extent what I was not necessarily expecting, but hoping. And though it's not, ripping the cover off the ball in every single way, the batting average is still very disappointing. I'm satisfied. If they do this all season, I should be okay. And the fact that a couple of them got going, maybe I actually do have a few hot hitters now. So that's the relief. Obviously, the fact that Max Scherzer is down and Kershaw is down, and those are my 2 best players and my top picks that from my draft, they're both down. But that's fortunately, I made the Segura trade. I have Nicholas. He was able to be a contributor against the Mets this week, and getting to that 42 on Saturday was humongous. The fact that I didn't have to think about that part of it so much was humongous. So I think I did a pretty decent job as far as getting to the minimum early enough and securing that. That secured me a win. And then it was just about the offense. And Josh did a great job shrinking this lead on Sunday. He did a really good job, and he knows that he just needed to, tread water, if you will. He's doing great, and he still is going to go on some crazy run at some point this season. So his focus is still there. It feels good personally to have faced now 3 really good managers, and I can include Christian in that now, and Jimmy and Josh, and I've drawn blood with all of them. And that feels good based on the offense that I have that is kind of the laughing stock, if you will, but it's the pieces are coming together there. And I just gotta, I guess, hope that Kershaw and Scherzer do come back at some point and come back strong. Their trade value is very low, and these aren't young guys. I mean, Kershaw's 34. Like, he should be pitching more, but it's just like a Dodger thing that I was kind of aware that if the Dodgers are doing Dodger things, they don't need to throw Kershaw. That's how good they've been for a decade, that this guy basically doesn't have to pitch that much, because you could say that it's his pelvis or a hangnail or a kneecap or whatever it is, and he'll be fine by October, amazingly, maybe September, but I got to be in the playoffs for that. September, just so he can get a warm up 4 or 5 innings. I knew what I was drafting, and it was tempting to trade him. I was tempted to trade Scherzer also, but it feels weird trading those guys. So I hope, you can appreciate that.
Ben, it's going to be an interesting season for you with these guys down, as long as they're going to be, especially Scherzer down, 6 to 8 weeks, and Kershaw's out for a couple of weeks. is the latest report from Dave Roberts. So we're probably looking at least 2 or 3 more to get him back. So it's going to be interesting how well you're going to tread water here. It is, again, one of those instances where I have to say it's a good time to be facing Matt Losey right now because you can remain healthy with a good win. This guy's probably due for a win, so maybe we see something from him. But of anybody, I think this is the guy you would want to see. Mike,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mike, on the other side here, how is Josh doing after his loss here to Ben?
He's frustrated. He's frustrated because he went into this matchup thinking that he had an advantage offensively. He said, if I have Vlad and Machado in my lineup every day, I'm gonna beat Ben. I'm
Hang on.
gonna
Pause.
overpower him.
Pause.
Okay.
He said this and benched Machado on Sunday.
Yeah.
If you have an advantage, you don't take that gun away, Josh. That was a bad move, and Machado could have at least tied you in runs with that one move alone. And the fact that you said early in the week, I've got the offensive advantage over this guy, and played that way at the end of the week, that's a mistake. And Ben made you pay for it. Good job, Ben.
Mental mistake. Yeah, I mean, I moved Rendon out because I was seeing myself potentially losing strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? If he plays Machado, then, and I think he had another hitter as well that he benched also that had a 4:00 game. And he saw me do it, and then he did the same thing. And I thought to myself, okay, so I'm surrendering one, but if one of those guys goes off, you know, who knows? So that's
and
exactly
Machado
what
did.
Happened. It's weird that it happened though. I will say,
why is it weird that his second round pick went off?
Because still batters do fail most of the time.
I get that.
Hitters don't hit 500 or 400. The best that he's going to do is potentially 3 out of 10 in all of baseball. So when you put in a batter, you're taking that chance that it's an 0 for 4. Averaging on base, we're still very close. Strikeouts, we're still very close. I understand the move. I understand, hey, why the hell are you benching Machado if you drafted him? But he played to the numbers, so I give him credit for that. That's all. I see what you're saying. He did pay for it, but I understand the move.
Yeah, I can't in good conscience. Like, if you're ahead and you do it and you don't flip categories, fine. When you're behind against a guy who's right there with you in the standings, I think you kind of got to make that move and be a little aggressive there, especially with your second round pick.
Listen, that's what's beautiful about the way this league is constructed, that you can take 2 different analysis. You and I can agree to disagree, and it's all subjective. There's no right or wrong. Right. You know, it's all what could have, would have, should have.
Right.
And it's tough too, because you're looking at these games and when they're happening. Like, if batting average is that close and you're going into this 4:00 game, you don't want to be kicking yourself at 6:00 after he's going 0 for 3 and then losing that category.
Who is he facing?
Alex.
3 runs. Yeah, 3 runs are harder to obtain.
Yeah.
Than an 0
I don't think
4,
anybody
that's
expects
more likely.
that. Yeah, I don't think anybody expects that. A 1 for 4 improves the batting average.
Yeah.
So you're hoping for 1 hit in the game.
But look, like, if that was the only hitter he had left in these late games, like, he had no choice.
Sure.
I was looking at this from an outside perspective, and I was like, of all the guys to bench, why would you bench Machado? But like, it was the only 4 whatever game, and it was the only batter he could bench. I don't know.
I get it. I mean, I get it.
Both sides.
Yeah, I see both sides. And in general, he played a pretty tight matchup against me. He was aware of what he could and couldn't win, and he played to the score pretty darn well. I think he did a good job. I think taking 8 is what he wanted to do, is what he told me he wanted to do. He's looking good. And again, because this is not the Josh Haber that we've seen in 2019 and previous years. This is a new man on a mission. So I respect what he's doing. I'm fortunate that I played well this week. Like I managed well. I really felt that the Santander pickup and just not getting too cute with the pitchers and just doing what I normally do, sticking to my strategy and having some intuition on which of my hitters were hot. And fortunately, I was able to get some good stats out of it. So it worked out. He's looking good. And I would think if I was not me looking at my team, I'd still be concerned about me. But mainly because of those two pitchers being out. If those two pitchers are healthy right now, I think people are maybe concerned that, oh God, Ben, he knows what he's doing. This offense is now coming around. And I just, right now, dude, I love this team. And I love this team more, obviously, because I won it all last year. So, like, I get to enjoy seeing, like, but having Votto and Miguel Cabrera, like, sure, I'll put two Hall of Famers in my lineup every day. There's a decent chance one of them does something, you know?
It's true.
Benji, you're a fun watch this season, especially with these injuries. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I don't believe in these players, but I believe in the manager to make these players
Thank
work.
you.
So we shall see what becomes of this new incarnation. We're going to move on to the next matchup here, gentlemen, and that's going to be Chris Levy taking down a 10-9 win over Costas Paragas. On Sunday, runs were tied, and Chris took that down. Steals were tied, and Costas took that down. Chris had a 2-walk lead. Costas tied that up. Errors were tied, and Costas made that faulty error. Losses were tied, and Costas took a loss. Saves remained tied. Relief appearances were tied, and Costas made that happen. Close categories. Costas wins by a triple. He wins by 1 RBI, like we mentioned, 1 steal, as we mentioned, and 1 relief appearance, as I mentioned. Chris wins by 2 runs, an error, and a loss. They tied in walks. For Chris on the bench, Ben, here's a good one. 14 for 53.
Oh, that's tough.
Yikes. This is really tough. It's not bad, right? It's not too bad.
It's not horrible.
15 for 33. 289. I'm gone on this one.
264. It's not awful. 264. 14 runs, 5 doubles, a homer, 5 RBIs, a steal, and 6 walks. The 5 RBIs obviously would have made that happen. The steal and 6 walks. What's the most egregious? Well, there is this kid called Nolan Gorman who he picked up this week that he decided not to play here, and dude went 3 for 5 with 3 runs, a double, an RBI, and a walk. The RBI and the walk both would have made that happen. The steal comes from Luis Ariz on the 18th, and Bregman did not play third base here. And here's Ariz with 4 runs, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, a steal, and a walk on the bench.
It's the move that changes the game, man. And he saw it. He had set it up, but he just didn't double check his team. You know, and he knows it, and he thought he did it, but that doesn't count. You know, once the game starts, that just doesn't count.
Right.
And we've seen this occasionally from Chris Levy. He had been better with it this year, but life gets in the way. You don't set those alarms. You forget about it. This is what happens. The bigs comes back to bite you almost every time, almost every single time. It's funny because, again, we're talking about hitters. Most of the time hitters fail, but it just seems, you know, it happened with Mike Sherman against you. You know, he had what he needed to check. He set his team for Monday, but he didn't double check guys out. Adam Duvall's not having a great year, sitting on his bench, home run on the bench. He could have played him. You know, it happens almost every time. Chris knows that, and the fantasy baseball gods came back to bite him with this Ariz move. They really did.
Yeah. His moves this week, he dropped Ramon Laureano for Mike Yastrzemski, who went 1 for 2. He dropped Lucas Luetge, and he dropped Ahmed Rosario for Tyro Estrada, who went 2 for 5 with a double. That's it. 3 moves. He used 0 against me last week. He used 3 moves in 2 weeks and is still succeeding. His MVP this week is mighty Aaron Judge, who had a big week this week. 435 average, 500 on base, 5 runs, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 4 RBIs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. The least valuable player, Alex Bregman. 190 and a 346 on base percentage, 2 runs, a double, an RBI, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts with an error. The Cy Young is Shane McClanahan. 7 innings, a win, a homer, 7 strikeouts, a 1.29 ERA, and an 0.57 WHIP. The Cy Yuck is Hector Neris. 3 innings, a loss, a homer, a walk, 5 strikeouts, a 12 ERA, and a 2 WHIP. On the other side, for Costas, on his bench, Benjamin, 2 for 21.
Wow.
Very nice.
A one for 7. Is it 162?
It is a 2 for 21.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't 89.
95. An 0.95 with 3 runs, an RBI, a steal, and a walk. The walk is the only thing that's in there, and it's Jace Peterson.
Does it play?
It does. It does, and it could have gotten in. Jace Peterson right here. He didn't start, but this game was postponed. Drury was postponed at third base. Jace Peterson just wasn't in the lineup. So in theory, you could make the move and drop somebody to get somebody in there, or just play the guy who's not postponed in the hopes that he does something. And all he did was score 2 runs, a steal, and a walk. And the walk...
Were these games... Yeah, but were these games postponed, like rain delay, and then held up, and then finally postponed? Or did we know right away so that he could have had the opportunity
Cincinnati
to switch
and
him
Cleveland
in?
was pretty early. Like, we knew those guys were getting postponed early.
Okay,
and
that was my question.
Man, he would have tied runs and 1 walks with this
one move. And to go 2 for 21 and to leave that much there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's
weird.
killer.
Insane, right?
Very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't really knock the guy, but I guess, I mean, if you really want to get nitpicky and analyze it, you can, but 2 for 21 is just fabulous. That has to be one of the best numbers we've seen.
So far.
0.95.
Other than somebody who just doesn't have anything on the bench for the week.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, for that big of a sample size, that's really impressive.
It was very good. His transactions this week, he traded me Jordan Romano and Dylan Carlson for Yandy Diaz and Chris Taylor. He dropped Zach Loogie for Phil Bickford, an inning, a strikeout, 2 whip, and a relief appearance. He dropped Nathaniel Lowe for Evan Phillips, in a relief appearance, an inning, a walk, a strikeout, a 1 whip. He dropped Evan Phillips for Chris Martin, an inning, a strikeout, a whip, 1 whip, and a relief appearance. He dropped Patrick Wisdom for Brandon Drury, 1 for 3 with a walk. He dropped Nick Lodolo for Tyler Naquin, 2 for 4 with 2 runs, a homer, and an RBI. He dropped Phil Bickford for invalidated Kitchen Flaxseed, 2 for 3 with a run, 2 RBIs, a steal, and a walk. You guys know who invalidated Kitchen Flaxseed is, right?
Yeah.
Good.
IKF.
No, I do not.
IKF.
Oh. Mm-hmm. How do those 3 words go together? Like,
one starts with an I, one starts with a K, and one starts with an F. That's
Otherwise, they don't
know. I don't think you've ever beaten my Ice Keeps Freezing.
Nope.
Ice Keeps.
It's the best one. He dropped Tyler Naquin for Ryan Stanek in an inning and a relief appearance. He dropped O'Neill Cruz for Brian Bello. We're swapping out our NA guy on a Friday. Dropped Daniel Lynch. Dropped Brandon Drury for AJ Puck. That's 5 relievers, and he won the relief appearances by 1. Well done.
Nice job.
Very good.
His MVP this week is Trevor Story, who decided he remembered how to play baseball this week. 360 average, 452 on base, 10 runs, a double, 6 homers, 14 RBIs, 2 steals, 5 walks, and 4 strikeouts. His least valuable player is Chris Taylor. 174 average, 208 on base, 3 runs, a double, a homer, 2 RBIs, a walk, 10 strikeouts.
Ooh.
The Cy Young is Alek Manoah, 8 innings, a win, 4 strikeouts, a 1.13 ERA, 0.88 WHIP. The Cy Yuck is Daniel Lynch. Where did he? Oh, he dropped already. 3 2/3 with a loss, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 982 and a 191. Guys, I think if you are Chris Levy, you are thrilled to get out of this matchup, seeing what Trevor Story did and seeing how well Costas pitched. You're able to get out of this with a win. That is a W on your books that nobody can take away from you. And this dude had the best week of the season, and you still dump trucked him in batting average, on base percentage, doubles. Like this was a good week for Chris Levy, even with that miss.
Yeah, the 1-0 rise is humongous though, because it's just when you have these two players going against each other, we know what happens if you give Costas Braga's breathing room.
Mm-hmm.
And like someone's got to squish the bug with this guy, or we're all going to be in trouble. I just can feel it. Same thing with Mike Haber. That guy can go F himself wherever he is. I'm impressed by both of these guys and what they're doing. They both obviously had some moments in this matchup where they're like, I just gave that guy a break. I can't believe I just gave that guy that kind of a break. Both of these managers did it. So it cuts both ways. And this is the result, a tight finish, like a really fun matchup. And both of these guys are fine. I see both of these guys in the hunt till the bitter end. We'll see. I mean, it's 10 years already for Chris. This is year number 10, I believe, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yep.
9. If he started in 14?
14, 9. Yeah, you're right, 14. So, yeah, this is his 9th year. I mean, it's time to break in, And Costas, he's got some, I would say he is kind of playing with house money, but man, was he close to hoisting it up. He really was. So this is exactly, I think he would sign up for this in the standings. I think he is fine with that, treading water and then getting hot at the right time. That's exactly what happened last year. So I wouldn't be concerned if I'm him. And yeah, Chris Levy is probably feeling great in that this is one of his best starts he's ever had. The Arise thing, it bothers him. But what I like about Chris Levy is he's one of the best managers at turning the page on these kinds of things. It happened, forget it. Next matchup, let me win the day. Let me go win one Monday. Let me go win Friday. Let me find a way to get a W after Sunday. He's great with that. So love what both of these managers are doing, mostly just competing their ass off. It's great to see.
Yep. Mike Haber, how are you feeling looking at these two teams?
I got to give them both credit. I got to give, I kind of came down hard on Costas in the first couple weeks of the show, and I give him so much credit. He beat the pants off me. And he's without Trevor Story. This is a different matchup. This is lopsided. This is a blowout because you're losing home runs, stolen bases, RBIs, triple.
RBIs,
yeah. So like this is scary without Trevor Story. But you know what? He drafted this guy knowing that Trevor Story had it in him, and he made some savvy trades. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what he's done. He held his own here. Chris Levy's team is scary. Hitting 353 and with a 433 on base, like that's pretty terrifying. And we were talking about Ben and his 20 doubles, and Chris Levy 18 doubles. Like this is a scary, scary team. And to only walk 13 batters in 64 innings, it's pretty nice too.
That is indeed. I just want to point out the schedule upcoming for each of these teams. We've got Costas here taking James McCloskey, then Christian Wood, Ben Nisman, and Bobby Russo. The pretty tough group of 4 there. James coming off a win, Christian in first place, Benji with his savvy rematch of the finals in week 9 here, and then Bobby Russo, who is always competitive. That is a tough next 4. For Chris Levy, his next 4 currently Ari, then Frank, then Lebo, then Sherman. Ben, how you feeling
A
about
little
those
more,
four?
little more favorable. Frank is so dangerous, but getting to face Ari and Sherman as the bookends in that four matchup is really nice. So if you can somehow, kind of, I don't know, maybe don't get doubled up, but like I'm saying, maybe like a 12-7 loss against Frank, and maybe something similar to that against Lebo, but do what you're supposed to do against Sherman and Ari, then you're fine. I like this from Chris Levy right now over the next month. Costas is a lot more scary, I think.
Yeah. Mike, how are you feeling about either of these guys next month?
Yeah, I think Chris Levy has a chance to really put some distance between him and some of these below 500 teams. Yeah, I could see him taking 3 or 4. And Costas,
I think that should be the expectation.
yeah.
And for Costas?
Costas, he surprises me every week. So like I could say, hey, that's a tough schedule. I see him winning 1 out of those 4, but like he's there in every matchup. So I gotta stop doubting this guy, and he's gonna keep pushing. He's gonna keep fighting, and
Absolutely.
This is only his second loss on the season, and it's
Yeah.
10-9 to Chris Levy. He lost big to Frank 14-7 in week 2. That's it. 2 ties, 2 wins, and now this matchup here, he takes on James McCloskey. Going to be very interesting for both of these guys. We are going to move on to the next matchup here, and this is another fun one, gentlemen. We're going to talk about the matchup between Bobby Russo and Jason Ashby that finishes in 10-8. On Sunday, Jason had a 2-home run lead, and Bobby tied that. The wins were tied, and Bobby got that, and relief appearances were tied, and Bobby got that as well. Jason gets Sundayed again. He got Sundayed before Monday. Ben Lissman.
You did.
Bobby wins by 1 walk here. He wins by 4 strikeouts. He wins by the win. He wins by 2 home runs given up by a pitcher and 1 relief appearance. Jason wins by 2 doubles, 1 tick on the on base percentage, 2 saves, and 4 strikeouts by a pitcher. They tied in triples, homers, and losses. On the bench for Mr. Russo this week, Ben, 13 for 40.
I'm gonna go. It's actually not too bad, 282.
3 1/4, 325. 4 runs.
That wasn't close, guys.
Nope. That was not a good one. You got fooled on the slider. No. 4 runs, a double, a triple, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, 12 strikeouts, and an error. Mike, you did the research on this one. Where are we looking for these?
There was a lot of who was it? Jason you're talking about?
No, Bobby.
Bobby. There was a lot of Benintendi that was benched throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
on Tuesday is the big one.
Yeah.
Here. A 6 for 18 on the bench with 3 runs. This is it. 3 runs, a triple, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts.
That's
the homers would have won that category. Where else are we looking? The homers would have won the category. The triple would have won that category. Yeah, that's a big day. It's Tommy Edman here. Randall Grichuk.
Or Escobar. Tommy Edman or Escobar on that Tuesday. And then on Sunday, if you look, Escobar didn't play. There was a way to get Benintendi in that at least ties on base percentage. It actually doesn't get him the win in batting average. It gets him 1 under. It was it would get him to 220, 225, I believe.
But Saturday and Sunday, Benintendi on the bench, he goes 7 for 8. No, sorry, 6 for 7. Benintendi.
There was an opportunity to at least, if you're not going to take on batting average, fine. It's hard to get it. On base percentage had to be gotten. It just had to. An 11-7 finish here. Bobby did some good stuff here on Sunday as far as being able to tie home runs. That was beautiful. What he did with relief appearances against a great manager at that. When you're trying to go toe to toe with Jason, and I don't know how many ads did Jason have left on Sunday.
Let's see. He used
Do you
all
know
12.
what he did on Sunday?
Yep, I
Yeah.
have it. He used all
What did he
12, and he picked up 2 guys, but one of them is for a start today.
So was the other one for a bullpen guy?
It was
Yeah.
a bullpen guy, yes.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that he did what he had to do, and also prepare for next week, and just put the chips in and hope that he wins relief appearances that way. And it didn't work out, but that's why I give Bobby credit. He's able to get that win there. When we get into after we get through all the best and worst, then we'll talk about what Bobby said and what he had texted, and get a little bit deeper into the matchup.
Absolutely. Bobby's moves here. He drops Brooks Brisky and Taylor Hearn for Randall Grichuk, holds on to him for the remainder of the series in Colorado, then drops him for Colin Moran and Josh Harrison. He drops Josh Harrison for David Phelps, drops Brad Miller for Ha-Seong Kim, drops Colin Moran for Jake Diekman, chasing relief appearances. Jordan Lyles gets dropped for Paolo Espino, getting relief appearances. Ha-Seong Kim gets dropped for Tucker Barnhart. 8 ads, 5 hitters, 3 relievers, no starters. The MVP this week for Bobby is Mookie Betts. So I have to look at the entire matchup total in order to tell you that Mookie Betts went 357 with a 455 on base, 11 runs, 4 doubles, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts. Beautiful. What a wonderful week from your first round pick.
Yeah.
The least valuable hitter is Josh Bell, 043 with a 115. That's a 1 for 23 on the week with an RBI, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and an error. The Cy Young goes to Sandy Alcantara, 17 innings, 2 wins, 3 walks, 12 strikeouts, an 053 with an 071. Very good. Very good. The Cy Young is Ian Kennedy, 675 and a 225 over 4 relief appearances, 2 2/3, a win, a loss, 2 homers, and 5 strikeouts. On Jason's side, Ben, 11 for 35.
Oh, not ideal. Not ideal for him. He's usually a little bit better on his bench. Okay. I'll go with 322.
314, it's a pie. Yeah, it took you a second, didn't it, Mike Haber? 6 runs, 5 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts. The 5 doubles would have been huge if he didn't get that. Home runs and walks would have won and flipped those categories. The 1 home run is on Sunday. Is it really on Sunday? How disappointing is this to see Eugenio Suarez with a homer here?
Ooh.
Let's see. He's playing double catcher with Danny Jansen and Kyber Ruiz. I don't know if that's necessary.
Yeah, he wins batting average and on base percentage regardless if he makes that flip.
Yeah. His moves this week. Let's see. Apparently, Susan Sarandon Strider is the drop of the week for Bailey Olber. Mr.
Susan Saran wrap.
Susan Sarandon Strider. Yep, Susan Strider.
Susan Saran wrap.
Yeah, I didn't know Strider's first name. Sorry.
He dropped Taylor Naquin for AJ Puck. He dropped Sir Anthony Dominguez for Adam Simber. He dropped Joe Adell for Grayson Rodriguez. Flipping out the NA guys. Okay. He dropped AJ Puck for Matt Liebertor. He drops Mike Moustakas for Spencer Torkelson. Mike Haber, your thoughts on that?
Hey, have fun. Enjoy him.
All right.
He won't be there for too long.
He drops Matt Foster for Jason Adam. He drops Dakota Hudson for Devin Smelter. He drops Smelter for Ottavino. He dropped Jimenez for Aledmus Diaz and drops Jason Adam. He drops Matt Liebertor for Griffin Jacks. That's the reliever on Sunday that I mentioned, Ben. And added Nick Martinez, who's going tonight for the Padres against the Brewers. 12 ads, 4 starters, 5 relievers, and 3 hitters. His MVP is Whit Merrifield again. If I look at the matchup total, it would be much more helpful. Whit Merrifield again today, 281 with a 351, 4 runs, 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Nolan Arenado is the least valuable hitter, 125 and 185. 3 runs, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts with an error. The Cy Young is Yusei Kikuchi, 10 and a third, a win, 6 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 174 and an 087. And the Cy Young is no longer on the active roster as he goes to the IL. It's Eduardo Rodriguez, a third of an inning, a loss, 2 walks, an 81 ERA, and an 18 whip. And he's got, well, the ribs are the issue. I guess he'll be shut down for throwing this week with an injury to his rib cage. All right. That sucks. Let's get into this one, boys. We'll set the timer. Mike Haber, we'll start with you. How do you feel after this week for these two managers?
Oh, I feel like these two managers seem to be headed in opposite directions here. Jason started off really strong this year. Now he's dropped down to 9th. He's 3 over 500. He's still in a good place. And I never would count Jason out, but I just think that he's trending potentially in the wrong direction. This was toe to toe the whole week. I was following this and I didn't know who was going to blink first. And Jason texted me on Saturday and was like, "You're following this matchup. Who do you think's going to blink? Who do you think is going to actually buckle here?" Because they were tied in so many categories. And I just wasn't sure. The only thing that was guaranteed was Bobby was going to win ERA and WHIP and and walks. And that was the only thing that was guaranteed going into the end runs. But yeah, it's real close. Two great, brilliant managers. I talked about Chris Levy's pitch totals last matchup. Looking at Bobby's, it's even better. 9 walks in 66 innings and a 177 ERA. We talked about that Alcantara and Woodruff pairing, and that's scary.
This is nasty, this pitching staff now. Alcantara, Patrick Sandoval is really good. Brandon Woodruff. And then now let's, Ben, get into what you had referenced earlier in the text messages that you received from Bobby. What did you receive, and how are we going to break this down a little bit further?
Well, okay, so unfortunately I don't have the texts, only you do, because I use the phone that I'm using for a camera as the text. But basically I wanted to know what was up, on Tuesday and on Sunday, because look, talked about it in exhaustion already on this show, but when you have an opportunity to squish the bug, and Jason Ashby he could be a pest. You got to figure out a way. Same thing with Levy against Costas. And I love the way that Bobby got this win, but it's also frustrating. Because he did some brilliant stuff, but there had to be some misses here. And Bobby broke down some stuff for us. So he said a couple of things actually that were very intriguing to me.
Yeah. We asked what had happened on Tuesday and yesterday, referencing Sunday. Bobby wanted relief appearances, and 2 relievers had losses. So was that on Tuesday that he's referencing there?
Or Sunday?
Austin Davis missed on that day, and Sunday. Here we go. Yeah, Ian Kennedy gets the L here. Share the screen, and we'll see what we're talking about. So Ian Kennedy gets the L here. It was a terrible performance, and Yimi Garcia, same, gives up a home run in his inning and takes the L there. He missed Escobar and could have played more conservatively with the play on Tuesday, was it? Yeah, definitely on Tuesday. We had talked about Escobar. Here with the home run, and that alone would have at least won him the homers category
and on base percentage.
Yes, that also would have flipped that. Yeah. Now the final question you asked him, why wasn't Benintendi in on Sunday when Eduardo was off? You were hypercritical. You were critical of this miss. Escobar's out here, and If you move Bell to first base, you get Benintendi into the lineup as the only available backup bat that he has. And of course, Benintendi has the RBI, the walk, a 3-for-4, or is it it's a 3-for-4 with a walk. So
Yeah, that gets the on
everything
base.
flips.
Yeah.
And you said he would fall one tick short on the batting average, right?
I believe it would have a 225. Yeah, I think
wow.
so.
Wow. So Bobby
but,
states he
but
had
if he does that, but Joe, if he does that and just does what he would normally do on Tuesday, which he's been doing since he joined in 2018, and he knows for sure that he fires on all cylinders usually when he's focused and he gets it all. But like life gets in the way, off the field stuff gets in the way. It's got in the way of many different guys, and it's going to continue to happen through the 21 weeks. It's just how it goes. Yep. But that's what comes back to bite you. It always does in the bigs. Like if you're not on top of it, it sucks, and you're a person, you got to do things and you have life, but it's just, it sucks that's how it always goes.
That we have life and have to do things.
And that you're a person.
Yeah.
No, you're a person. It sucks to be a person sometimes. Seriously. Yes. Oh, Josh Haber was the best at that. He would always talk about, I have to go and do things for Howard to make X pieces of paper. I need to make X pieces of paper to purchase things that I need. Josh is the best. Josh is just the way he breaks down life is just.
I can't wait to have him on the show. Please, Josh.
Second to none as far as a person that gets it. And just so down to earth. I hope you get to meet this guy. One of the most down to earth people you'll ever meet in your life.
What we have here in the standings, Benji, is a glom of teams from you, essentially from Josh in fourth at 7.5 back of first, all the way to Frank at 12 at 15.5 back. All circulating around the playoff spots. It's going to be so much fun to watch what shakes out here. Mike Haber, you're just outside there, but when we're specifically talking about these two guys, Bobby holds that 6th spot for now, and Jason, he's a game and a half back in 9th. This is all a big glom. It's gonna be interesting to watch and see who really comes out of that and takes hold of that 6th spot, or maybe even higher up. We'll see. Let's move on to the next matchup here, gentlemen, and it's going to be another interesting one as we had this one finish really, really close as well. It is Jimmy Dunlap taking on Brian Lebo. And another opportunity for Lebo to squash the bug. He was killing it all day.
Killing it all week.
And Sunday comes, and here's what happens. Doubles were tied. Jimmy gets walks. Brian had a 3-walk lead. Jimmy gets that. Brian was ahead by 2 strikeouts. Jimmy takes that. Losses were tied. Jimmy takes that. ERA. Brian was up 18 ticks on the ERA, and we'll show you what happened there. That's 5 categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories on a Sunday. Turn it from 14-5 to 11-10. Well done, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best. Really, really amongst maybe the best.
For Brian on his bench this week, been 7 for 20.
Okay. So 336.
350. 6 runs, a double, a homer, 6 RBIs, 3 walks, and a strikeout with an error. The things that play here, obviously, the double would have been important. And he had 3 walks on the bench. That's probably difficult to get in. But one thing I want to show you guys is Tuesday the 17th. That would be the one of the walks here with Owen Miller. A run, a homer, 2 RBIs. Actually, the walk was here from Franmil. Never mind. Couldn't get it in. He couldn't get Owen Miller in, so that is what it is. He added Brady Singer, who went 7 innings, a win, 9 strikeouts, and 0.57 whip. He dropped John King, Ben's former neighbor, for Tyler Matzik, who was on. He added Brent Suter, an inning, 2 walks, a strikeout, a 3 whip, and a relief appearance. He dropped Brent Suter for Scott Efros, a 2/3 of an inning, a strikeout, a 150 whip, and a relief appearance. He added Jonathan Loizaga, third of an inning, 2 walks, a strikeout, a 6 whip, and a relief appearance. I don't miss that roller coaster on my team at all. Not a single bit. He dropped Jose Alvarez. He dropped Scout Efros for Brett Martin, an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. He dropped Loizaga for Caleb Thielbar, an inning, a homer, a walk, a 9 ERA, a 2 whip, and a relief appearance. He dropped Art Warren for Joe Kelly, an inning, 2 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. He dropped Caleb Thielbar for Ron Marinaccio. Ben, what team does he play for?
Was he part of that trade with Kit Terracine?
What?
No
I
one
actually
knows
don't
that
even know
reference, huh?
Nope. He
Wow.
plays for the Yankees. He has the most Italian, like Brooklyn name you would ever imagine. Because
Do you know who
Ronnie
Dottie Henson is?
Marinaccio, he's coming in from the bullpen
Okay.
over here. Yeah, yeah,
That was good.
yeah.
Wait, do you know who
2/3
Dottie Henson is?
I have no clue.
Okay, all right, sorry.
2/3 of an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance for Marinaccio. And he dropped Brett Martin for Nick Whitgren, who didn't get in the lineup. Every single one of these ads involved a pitcher, and all but Brady Singer were relievers. The MVP of the week is Rafi Devers, 393 average, 433 on base, 6 runs, 2 doubles, triple, 3 homers, 5 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is Franmil Reyes, again, a 100 average, a 167 on base, 1 RBI, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. The Cy Young, hey, look, he got Martin Perez's complete game of the season. 9 innings, a win, a walk, 5 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a 1 whip. The Cy Yuck, yep, we're going to talk about it, Brian. I know, because you changed your team name to I Hate You Chapman. Well, Aroldis Chapman did him wrong. 2 1/3, a loss, a save, 2 homers, a walk, 3 strikeouts, 15.43 ERA, and a 3 whip. But what's really important is what happened on Sunday in the last game. In the day game. A third of an inning, a loss, a homer, a walk, a 54-9 whip. When you are this close in ERA, and that's what happens, over 75 innings, you still throw to an under 3 ERA and lose.
Oh,
that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, he didn't play it right, and losses. Didn't that loss matter?
That loss mattered. That loss cost him that category too. Mm-hmm. Just rough. Just absolutely rough. For Jimmy on his bench this week, Benjamin, 9 for 33.
Couldn't make it 9 for 36, could you?
Nope. 302? 273. 3 runs, a homer, 4 RBIs, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. None of the plays. Yeah, none of the plays.
That's good.
His moves this week: he dropped Steven Wilson for Jason Black Adam. Okay.
Nice.
Royce Lewis gets dropped for Hunter Dozier, over 4 with a strikeout. He drops Elias Diaz for Yadier Molina, over 4 with 3 strikeouts. He drops Will Crowe for Colin Poche, an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. He drops Brandon Belt for Jacob Junis, 6 innings, a homer, 2 strikeouts, a 6 ERA, and a 1.17 whip. Drops Jeff Hoffman, drops Jason Adam for David Price, an inning and a third, 3 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. He drops Colin Poche for Nabil Chrismat. Ben, what team does he play for?
I got this. The Montreal Expos.
Close. San Diego Padres. An inning and 2/3, a walk, a 180 whip, and a relief appearance. He dropped Chad Green for Zach Jackson. Not Matt Jackson and not Nick Jackson, but it is Zach Jackson. An inning and a third, 2 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. He added Jake Odorizzi, who's on the IL. He drops Jacob Junis for Ben's neighbor, John King, and an inning, a walk, a strikeout, a 1 whip, but he was benched. and that's the relief appearance. And
Oh,
he drops the third Jackson brother in the Young Bucks for Matt Whistler, and a third of an inning, a homer, a 27 ERA, and a 6 WHIP, also benched. And then he dropped Nabil Krismat for Colin Poche on Sunday. His MVP this
wow.
week is Anthony Rizzo. 240 average, 333 on base, 6 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 2 RBIs, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Teoscar Hernandez, 053 with a 100 on base, a double, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. The Cy Young is why do I keep having to say Eric Lauer's name? 7 innings, a win, 5 strikeouts, nothing earned, and 0.71. This dude is pitching to a 2.16. Every start he makes is good,
It's gross.
except
Yeah,
for
He's a
the
good
one against
player.
Miami.
He's a good player.
he's a
Out
good
of
player.
nowhere. Out of nowhere.
It
The Cy
happens
Young.
every year. There's a guy like that, though.
It's interesting that both Cy Yucks of this matchup had the team name named after them at some point. Because Nate wasn't evolving. An inning and 2/3, a loss, 5 dingers, a 32-40, and a 480 whip. Gross. Guys, let's talk about these two. We have one in 7th and one in 10th. They are also in this giant glom. Ben, let's hear about what you see out of these.
Look, I expect Jimmy to always be in the hunt. I expect him to be just catapulting himself into the top 6 very soon and staying there. And that's what I expect from him. He's got a busier summer this year than he does last year. So I am worried about that stuff when life gets in the way with him. And as for Brian, man, like what an opportunity for him here to have a big, big win. And to let it slip like that, I'm sure he's not pounding his chest today and thinking like, I beat a great manager. No, if I'm him, I'm thinking like, man, and I'm not him, but if I am, I'm thinking like, man, I really had a chance to have a great win here, feel some comfortability going into my next few weeks. Did they both use all of their ads, Joe?
Let's see. It looks like it.
Yeah. I would think Jimmy did. I wasn't sure about Brian, but I always worry about Brian and how that need to win in innings pitched, win in strikeouts, and I respect the urge to do it because we've all been there. But I mean, somehow he's had it tough against some really strong managers. Those managers that are great day to day. In those pitching departments, he's had it rough against them this season. So I do worry about that. I'm more work between these two, and I'm not even looking at their schedules. I'm more concerned about Lebo right now than Jimmy.
Mike Haber, do you echo those sentiments, or are you feeling a different way about this particular matchup?
No, I think I agree with Ben completely. I feel like Jimmy is going to be there in the end. Brian needed a runaway blowout win here, and he had it all freaking week until the last day.
Yeah, and we're not talking about, I'm sorry to interrupt, we're not talking about like just a double up. We're talking about 18-1, 17-3, like really a good chance. And now obviously a lot of those categories are probably very, very close on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but you still have the lead in them. You got to figure out a way to fatten up, and he couldn't do it. And he let a great manager get back into that matchup. When Jimmy was just he was forsaken. He was so distraught over what's going on. We spoke on the phone for over an hour on how he cannot understand what's going on with this offense, how these guys should be hitting. And he's right. It's not like looking at my offensive team and wondering, why aren't these guys hitting? Well, if you look at the names in the back of their baseball cards, it makes a little more sense that my team isn't producing than Jimmy's. So I get the frustration, but it's Jimmy Dunlap. Like, he's going to figure out a way, and he did. And it's just proof that you have a reason to fear Jimmy because he's not even whole. What happens when he gets Fernando back? Mm-hmm. Then he might be a whole different team. What happens if Teoscar and Semien get hot at the right time, at the same time? Look out, So That's why I have no worries for Jimmy right now. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just want to get that.
No, you're good. And I loved your pronunciation of Teoscar.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Almost as good as Escobar.
No way. It's not. It's
I want to point out
nothing's
here,
as good as Canha.
No.
Canha has a good one. The one thing I want to point out, Levo had a very emotional week. He lost his father this week. We all came together and changed our team names for him, and that just goes to the point of this league and the support that this league creates for all in it. We're all with you, Levo. We're sorry for your loss, both here in this world and in our fantasy world. Here's what I really want to show as far as this matchup is concerned. Um, it's Sunday because it was a 14-5 lead for Lebo going into Sunday. His offense does okay, I guess. 222, 243 on base, 2 runs, 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, a steal, a walk. 9 strikeouts are ugly. The 9 strikeouts do end up losing the category. He did get 2 doubles and loses that by 1. Why? Oh, just because Jimmy came over here and hit 219 with a 342 on base. That's 6 walks. Nothing Lebo could have done about that. That flips the walks category and almost gets him to on base percentage. On the pitching side, they both bench their starters. So Miley and Wood are out of this game, as well as Brady Singer, who threw a really good one. On Jimmy's side, he benched Severino, who was really good, Evaldi, who bounced back nicely, but he threw Ryan Presley to get the save, which put him 1 ahead. So what's Brian doing? He's chasing that save.
Yeah.
He's chasing the save on Sunday. Chapman is the guy that would get it for him and ends up doing worse things to him. He loses the ERA. He loses the home runs. Gross. Just a bad weekend.
And the loss.
And the loss unties that category.
Yeah.
Our condolences, Brian, for your father. And we want to see you bounce back here this week. Before we go,
I wanted my Brian's Lions to be the team that won on Sunday against Josh. I wanted that team through the end of the week. That's my team name.
All right. Let's take a look real quick at the upcoming schedule for both of these teams. For Brian first, I hate you, Chapman. He's got Mike Sherman and Mike Haber, then Chris Levy, then James McCloskey. Mike, are you afraid of this team?
Yeah, I'm afraid of every team.
Okay, fair enough.
At this point. But yes, I am afraid of this team. I'm afraid of everyone that I haven't played yet. I'm afraid of because I don't know. It's like still early in the season. You don't know what this team is until you actually face them, and I think this team is scary, and I'm not looking forward to our matchup.
Ben, how would you feel if you're Brian looking at this schedule? Sherman, Haber, Chris Levy, and James McCloskey.
Yeah, I think it's possible for him to get to through that 500. I think he can do it. I think that between his management day to day and the squad that he has, he can definitely do it. He's got to take care of business first against Sherman. Sherman, everyone needs to kibosh, basically. Of course, Sherman's going to find a way to get wins. So is Ari, so is Matt, maybe, but when you're facing them, those are must wins. So I think he's got a good look. It's still a win at the end of the day. He didn't lose that match against Jimmy. He didn't get squashed by him. So he can take that kind of momentum into the next matchup. And I think he'll be okay, but I am just concerned. So this is probably not the most fearsome part of the schedule that he's going to have to endure.
Right. Let's move on to the next matchup, gentlemen, and we're going to talk about Frank Bucco getting a double-up win over Mike Sherman. This is what you're supposed to do when you face Mike Sherman. 13-6 is the win for Frank. On Sunday, stolen bases were tied. Mike Sherman gets that. Batting average and on-base percentage were close. Frank does get batting average. He also gets whip on Sunday. So many things happened on Sunday because we're looking at DJ LeMahieu, Giancarlo Stanton, Andrew Vaughn, AJ Pollock, and there was a third White Sox he had, Tim Anderson. And Loizaga was on Frank's team. Matt Foster was on Frank's team. Like the last game was this matchup,
Yeah.
and Frank came away with big wins. The close categories. Frank wins by 2 doubles. He wins by 3 ticks on the batting average. He wins by a win, 2 wins actually. He wins by 2 losses and 2 ticks on the whip. For Mike, he wins by 2 RBIs, a stolen base, a home run, 2 home runs given up by a pitcher, and a relief appearance. He tied in triples and saves. For Frank on his bench, Ben 3 for 19.
Wow, sick. 168.
158.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Close.
A run, an RBI, and 7 strikeouts. None of it plays. For his moves, he traded Miles Michaelis to you for Gene Segura. He dropped Dylan Peters for Eli White, who went 1 for 5 with a run, an RBI, and 4 strikeouts. He hit a little league home run, boys. Did you see it?
No.
He hits a screaming line drive to left field that Brandon Marsh absolutely just whiffs on. And this dude is really fast, so he just got all the way around the bases.
Wow.
Yeah. But 1 for 5 with that, and it would count it as a single and a 3-base error. So I ask you this: would you want that in your lineup? A 1 for 5 with a run, an RBI, and 4 strikeouts?
Ooh.
No.
I
No.
don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Only if that was credited as a home run, which wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It was not. He dropped Anthony Santander for Joe Smith, an inning and a third, a
Thank you.
strikeout, an 0.75 whip, and a relief appearance. He drops Casey Mize for Kyle Lewis. He drops Eli White for Christian Walker, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. He drops Christian Walker for Jonathan Loizaga, 2/3 of an inning, a loss, a strikeout, a 54 ERA, and a 6 whip. He drops Josh Rojas for Matt Foster, an inning, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance. He got within 1 of relief appearances in playing against Mike. And he had Michael King on his team and in the lineup, but he was unavailable out of the bullpen for the Yankees. So that could have been the tying one. His MVP this week is Tim Anderson, 462 average, 533 on base, 4 runs, a homer, 6 RBIs, 2 steals, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. His least valuable hitter is Austin Riley, 120 average on 154 on base, a run, a homer, 3 RBIs, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Yu Darvish, 7 innings and a win, 5 strikeouts, nothing earned in 086. And the Cy Yuck is Kyle Hendricks, 5 innings, a loss, 4 homers, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 1260, and a 2 whip. For Mr. Sherman on his bench, Ben, 6 for 41.
My God, his bench is so obnoxiously big. Ugh. 6 for how many?
41.
So it's almost a 1 for 7. 159.
146. Very close. With a run, 2 doubles, an RBI, 3 walks, and 13 strikeouts. The 2 doubles would have to be perfect. Nothing else plays. He drops Jesus Sanchez for Luis Gonzalez, who was then sent to AAA. And that is not Luis Gonzalez of the 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks.
Oh.
God, that's what he's known for, huh?
Mm-hmm. He adds MJ Melendez. What does MJ stand for, Ben?
Michael Jordan.
Michael
That
Jackson.
was exactly what I would have expected somebody to say. Yes. MJ is Michael Jordan. He drops MJ Melendez the next day for John Brebbia, an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. His MVP is Trey Turner, of course, 370 with a 419, 2 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 7 RBIs, 2 steals, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is Jorge Mateo, 059 with a 111, a run, an RBI, a steal, a walk, 6 strikeouts, and 2 errors. Gross. The Cy Young is Julio Urias, 5 innings, a win, 5 strikeouts, nothing earned in an 040. The Cy Yuck is Noah Syndergaard, 2/3 of an inning, a loss, 2 walks, a strikeout, a 54 ERA, and a 9 whip. We have a standing bet as to whether or not he's over or under a 4 ERA. He sits at a 360, gentlemen.
Go either way.
Yep. All right, let's talk about it. We'll set the clock. What do you have to say about Frank Bucco's team after 6 weeks now, Mike Haber?
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm still impressed. Frank is impressing me every week. He did what he needed to do against, a weaker team. Impressive pitching stats, more impressive hitting offensive stats, or power numbers, I should say. And I'm playing him this week, so it's scary coming out of that and seeing like all the hot hitters that he's got on this team right now. So I'm so impressed with his management. His ability to hold on to his team for 6 weeks and to like really just believe in them, believe in the guys that you drafted and see how it's going to pay off. I mean, yeah, he sits in 12th place right now, but it doesn't matter at this point, really.
Positioning means nothing right now, right, Ben?
No, not at all. Not even under 5, 6, 7 under 500. Something like that means nothing right now.
Yeah.
He is playing incredibly well. He's at the back end of that glom that we talked about, but 1 week can put him right at the top of it and in a playoff spot. Mike Haber, you're up against him this week. You mentioned it. Ben, how do you see this matchup going?
It's my favorite matchup to look at for this week. It's my premier matchup. Frank did a beautiful job playing against what I thought between Mike and Frank's matchups for this week. Mike playing Ari, we'll get to that. And Frank playing Mike Sherman, I thought it was going to be a little bit tougher for Frank based on Mike coming out of a hot week with hot hitters. And I actually was right. Mike batted .271. He had 35 RBIs to take that category. He had 27 runs. That probably plays against most teams. And Frank played to the score every day, played to the score. A tidy matchup that he just was smarter in general on the pitching side. And that really made the difference here because he had to really just accept whatever he was going to get by the end of Sunday offensively because they were basically matching up. So all he had to do was do the other part of it, which was the pitching part, and play a tidy matchup there, and he was going to win. And he's rewarded with an over a double-up win. So I'm really proud of him. He's looking great and a very, very dangerous matchup going forward because he hasn't even done what his team can potentially do when they all get hot.
Right. That is one thing that I just keep seeing this team being is much like the Mike Mazzetta team of 2021, where we're seeing him getting beat. We're like, dude, you're doing good. This is a good thing. This is going to turn around.
Yep.
We're seeing it here. And if he is able to navigate that better than Mike Mazzetta did last year, we could be seeing a playoff team. Let's not forget, Mike Mazzetta got hot at the end of last year and ended up getting into the consolation bracket in like 8th and running for a while. Like, I think Frank could do better than, and that should be the expectation here is like Frank's goal should be the playoffs. And if he makes the consolation bracket with a bye, congratulations. Like, you've had a great year.
Yeah.
I don't think he would be satisfied with that at all.
I understand.
I think he'd probably be. I don't. Maybe because it's Frank. You're right. Like he'd rather be 7th than 8th. But just missing the playoffs, 8th, 7th, I think that would be heartbreaking for him. I think if anything, he would rather like have acceptance that he's not going to make it than like in week 20 and week 21, all of a sudden the collapse occurs. I don't think that's what we want.
Right. His schedule coming up here is Mike Haber, then Chris Levy, James McCloskey, and Christian Wood. It's a rough 4 weeks.
Tough. Very tough.
For Mike Sherman, his next 4 weeks, as soon as I find his team, there he is. He's got Brian Lebo this week, Jimmy Dunlap, Mike Haber, and Chris Levy. Not favorable either.
It's just, I mean, you wonder who's going to have a worse season at this point, Ari or Mike Sherman. It's really a coin flip. It's going to be ugly again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very. Hats off to Frank, though. This is a really solid win. It's a win he needed to have in the situation he was in. He did he on Big's Live when I was showing him what the standings would look like, he was a little disappointed. He says, a double up win, and I don't even move anywhere in the standings. But what he did was he moved himself from the top of the bottom tier to the bottom of the middle tier. And he just closed the gap there. And now I think he's primed to start climbing again. We shall see, because he's going to play all of these guys in front of him after he gets finished with Mike Haber this week. I think it's going to be a good season for Frank. We're going to move on, and we'll move on to the next matchup here. Mike Haber, this is going to be your matchup against Ari Nisman. A get right week for Mr. Haber here, an 11-7 win. On Sunday, you guys were tied in stolen bases. Ari sniped you there. It's the only one that changed. Close categories this week, you win by 2 walks and 3 innings pitched. Ari won by that steal on Sunday and a home run given up by a pitcher and 12 ticks on the whip. You guys tied in triples, wins, and losses. Mike, on your bench this week, you went 2 for 10.
Sure, give him the easy ones.
Oh, I get this one. 200.
Yes, you did. With a double, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and an error, nothing plays. Your ads this week: Humberto Castellanos gets dropped for Josh Winder. Who is Josh Winder?
Well, he's broken now, but he was pitcher on the Twins.
Okay.
Was that going to be added to your team name? You also
Probably.
Winder? When you after you Bender?
Bender, then Winder, then Naylor.
Then Winder, then Naylor. Right.
Yeah.
Great. You dropped Austin Gomber. So do you Gomber and then you? No. For
one that doesn't work. That one didn't work.
No, I'm actually thinking Bender, then Naylor, then Wheeler.
Very good. Well, as long as you don't fist it.
Austin Gomber gets dropped for Michael Wacha, who you ended up trading to Matt. Tyler Wells gets dropped for Jesus Aguilar, 2 for 5 with a run and a strikeout. Sheldon Noisy, the one nipple man crush, is dropped for Brandon Donovan. Dropped Josh Winder for Chase Silseth, a 4 1/3, a loss, 2 homers, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 6.23 and a 1.85 at home against Oakland. You dropped Jake Diekman for Matt Strom, gave you a relief appearance, very nice. Dropped Joey Gallo, who now has the vid, for Andrew McCutcheon, who no longer has the vid. You dropped Dick Mountain for Alex Faito. You dropped Chase Silsesh for Kyle Bradish. Ben, what team does he play for?
Dude, you're killing me here. I don't know, the Capulets? No, the Montagues. I don't know. One of those.
The Orioles. 5 1/3, a loss, 2 homers, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, an 8.44 and a 1.31 versus Tampa. You dropped Heimer Candelario for Darren Ruff, over 4 with a strikeout and an error. Don't ever try to put my magic dust on your shit. It's not going to work.
Nope, didn't work.
You dropped Kyle Bradish for Mike Myers. You dropped Darren Ruff for Jonathan VR. All 12 used, 5 hitters, 5 starters, 2 relievers. Your MVP this week, Mike, is that dude, Mike Trout. He's pretty good at baseball, or so I have heard. 375 average, 444 on base, 7 runs, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Matt Olson, 130 and a 286. A run, 2 doubles, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts with an error. He had probably 5 hits, and 2 of them were doubles. Amazing.
Yep, that's every week.
Yep. The Cy Young is Zach Wheeler, 7 innings, a win, 9 strikeouts, nothing earned, and 0.57. The Cy Yuck is, we're going to go with Dick Mountain. 2 innings, a homer, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 18 ERA, 350 whip. For Ari this week, Ben, 2 for 12.
Oh, no. Oh, thank God. 1 for 6. I know what 1 for 6 is by now. 185? 175? 175.
167.
Not closer.
A run, an RBI, 3 walks and a strikeout. Nothing plays. But the inning pitched, loss, and home run by Kirby all play. He apparently benched George Kirby's start. Is that what I'm gathering? And George Kirby down here in the NA spot 5 innings, a loss, 2 homers, a walk, 3 strikeouts, a 9 ERA, and a 1.80
Good
whip.
bench.
Good
Great bench.
Good
Just
bench.
and maybe an incidental, accidental bench, but it's a bench just the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
No moves. We'll go to his MVP. It is Pete Alonso, 321 average, 387 on base, 3 runs, a double, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. MVP. MVP. That's going to be so good to chant this summer. His least valuable hitter is JT Realmuto, 105 with a 190, a double, 2 RBIs, 6 strikeouts, and 2 errors. That guy. I think he's the newest Philly that I'm gonna hate with a passion for no discernible reason. He's gonna fall in the same realm as like Shane Victorino.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a reason for that one.
I hate that guy. Cy Young is Nick Pivetta. He had a good start apparently.
Complete game.
Oh, very nice.
Wow.
Where is it? I can't find it now. That's because I'm looking at the right team. Where is it? Here it is. 9 innings, a win, a home run, 8 strikeouts, a 1 whip, and an 0.22 whip. That's the Cy Yuck is the reliever known as Luis Sessa. An inning and 2/3, a win, a loss, a homer, a walk, a strikeout, a 10.80 ERA, a 2.40 whip, and 2 relief. Ben, we'll start. Here's something interesting I thought about. Ben, you played Josh this week, right? So in the brother tag team match, each one a brother takes. It's 1-1 between the Habers and the Nismans. I'm glad we get this again in week 21, so that'll be fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're wondering my thoughts, and it's just that again, I was saying how this was a must-win for Mike Haber, and he took care of business. All told, an 11-7 win. He's got to take that. Maybe he wants a little better, but he hasn't had the ideal season that Mike Haber typically has. So seeing this matchup would have been devastating if he doesn't get on the winning end of it. He does what he has to. And now it's time to get out your popcorn, soda, whatever you do, because Mike Haber versus Frank Bucco, those two different styles, two different brains, and two very different kinds of squads. I'm really, really looking forward to it, man. Like when I saw that those two were on the schedule this week, that was the one that I was zeroed in on.
It's going to be a fun matchup. Mike, you're coming out of here with a win against Ari. Let's get on the right train. How are you going to do that?
Well, first of all, just on this win itself, it was closer than I wanted it to be. It was supposed to be, it was like 13-6 at one point on Sunday. And Jameson Taillon, who I hate rooting against the Yankees, but he has three Yankee starters on his staff. So all week I'm rooting for the Yankees to get blown up, but also like win the game. But Taillon is losing, and then the Yankees tie the game in the 9th inning, or whatever it was, and that would have been a loss for Ari there. Mm-hmm. And then he gets Tyler Duffy thrown into a tie game, Twins middle relief pitcher, snags a win, and in the last second on Sunday, he avoids a loss and gets a win. So instead of it being 13-6, it's 11-7. Definitely a frustrating end when a lot of other things are kind of going my way, but all in all, it was very interesting to play a manager who did not make any moves. It's almost like more pressure, like you better win this because he's not doing anything. Yeah. But I mean, like what's interesting about Ari though is that he moves his team around. Like
yes. Oh yeah.
He works with what he has and he plays with players.
Yeah. The mistakes that Chris Levy was making or Bobby Russo made, Ari usually gets on top of the lineup as far as knowing what time the games start and paying attention. I'll give him that. And it's great, and I'm grateful for it because it does keep him competitive enough against great managers like yourself.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a good matchup, and he's got a good squad. And Pete Alonso wore me out.
Yeah, absolutely. It just seemed like he was always on base doing something to you, and the fact that you were able to withstand that is just very impressive.
Thank you.
Well, you've withstood this first 6 weeks here, Mike Haber, with 2 wins, one over Matt Losey, one over Ari. You've lost all other matchups. Your next 4 matchups are Frank Bucco, Brian Lebo, Mike Sherman, and Jimmy Dunlap.
Hmm.
Sounds like a winnable stretch here for you to get back into it, but you're going to have to do some work. And it starts here against a team that we're probably counting on to be really competitive in the middle of the hunt this week and this year in Frank Bucco.
Mm.
I'm excited for this matchup just as much as Ben is. The other 3 matchups, it's a toss up there between you and Lebo and you and Jimmy.
Jimmy, yeah.
And you've got to take care of business against Sherman.
Yeah, that's another must win. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
As for Mr. Nisman, he's got Chris Levy this week. He's got James McCloskey next week, Christian Wood in week 9, and a matchup against his brother in week 10. Ben, are you excited for your matchup in week 10?
Yeah, I'm always excited to play against my brother, especially because I know he gets up for those matchups too. And I always want to play someone that's hungry to beat me, that knows what they're up against and will compete. And I know he's going to do that. Will some ads be made? That remains to be seen. He is probably going to make the least amount of ads all season of any manager. That's more than likely. But look at what he did in 2018, getting a bye with the least amount of ads. Him and Donato, what he did, they did was crazy, and it proved that you don't need to do it. But that was when we were 34 innings as a minimum and 21 ads or something crazy like that. I take that back, 14 ads, but still, I mean, things have changed a lot. And I'm worried about his season, but he's like Sherman. They enjoy it. They enjoy going through the process, and they're going to take it in the way that they want to for their enjoyment of this hobby.
Absolutely. And as the 2 elder statesmen at this point of the league, along with yourself, Ben, we're only down to 3 of you left standing now with Uncle Barry moving on. It's fun to have these guys here and have them playing spoiler. Look, there's an interesting start to Ari's week this week. He's batting over 350 with a 450 something on base percentage so far.
Yeah.
So he's going to be competitive, and he's going to ruin somebody's season. Like, these 2 guys are going to ruin somebody's season.
Right, because when you go back to your season and when they do get those wins, the Sherman wins and the Ari wins, and you think, like, man, that's the one that you needed to win. You lost to Ari, you lost to Sherman, and you look back at your season and said, well, that's the reason I wasn't in the playoffs. We can tell that story, from years to come.
Yeah. Gentlemen, let's jump into the final segment here. We're going to talk about matchup of the week. Now, before we jump into managers of the week, we'll talk about our matchup that we most enjoyed in week 6. Mike Haver, I'll start with you.
I'm going to say Bobby and Jason's matchup. It was a real close and like an absolute dogfight until that Sunday. So, and it ended 10-8. So like they both did great. They're both in good places right now. So I loved it. It was really fun to watch.
Ben, how are you feeling this week? What was your favorite one to watch?
Hands down, Jimmy Dunlap and Brian Lebo. Seeing that lead shrink and shrink and shrink to the point where if they played an 8th day, Jimmy wins the matchup. Like, that's how exciting it felt to me, that it was just give Jimmy more time. Just he will play you till the end with like no stop. There's always fighting that dog. So I just enjoyed watching that, especially with how distraught he was in the beginning of the week for him to ultimately execute day in, day out and get to that point. Just fabulous job by him. Not saving a season. If he went down 18-1, that was the ending. I just feel like Jimmy would figure out a way with 15 weeks left to stay competitive. So this was just Jimmy saying, okay, I'm still in the standings and now I'm going to rise.
Mine will go to Chris Levy against Casas Paragas. This thing was back and forth all week, and it was a hell of a matchup between the 2 of them. My hat's off to both of them, and it finishes 10-9. Let us jump to managers of the week. And Mike Haber, we did not get your managers of the week last week. Would you like to weigh in there?
Sure. Let me go back to last week. So third place last week. Oh man, some good ones here.
Mm-hmm.
Third place last week, I'm gonna go with Christian Wood.
Okay.
Taking down my brother 12-7.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Chris Levy second.
Okay.
Taking down the champ, not the champ, but the first place team,
Uh-huh.
Joe Schubert.
With
I'm
0
gonna-
ads.
With zero ads.
With 0 ads.
And number
and I'm
one?
gonna go- what?
And number one team?
Number one, man. Let's go Bobby.
Bobby Russo.
A double
His-
up.
His
over
double
Jimmy.
up over Jimmy. Right. That does make things interesting. All right, that will start off the points that we have for this week. We're going to start with the number 3 team in week 6. And Ben, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Christian Wood here. Yes, it is against Matt Losey, but like you mentioned before, Joe, the fact that the Pineda Coladas threw 24 innings on Sunday to a tune of a 1.88 ERA. I mean, to go sub 2 ERA, 24 innings over half the minimum on Sunday was pretty awesome to see, and played to the score basically. I understand Matt had some fortunate things flip in his direction on Sunday, but even still, I think Christian just had a good handle on a inferior manager at this point. Christian did a beautiful job this week, so I'm going to give him the honor of 3.
All right, Mike Haber, who do you have weighing in at number 3?
I'm gonna go with McCloskey here, taking down a 10-8 win over Joe. Any win over Joe Schubert is deserves manager of the week, and 10-8, very impressive.
I tend to agree there. I have list as well here, and I wasn't on it at the moment, so bear with me. Yeah, my number 3 is also James McCloskey. Honorable mention. He's not going to be in my top 3, but Frank Bucco deserves some honorable mention this week. Hats off to him. But the opponent was not as great as the rest of these folks here. So James McCloskey getting my number 3 as well. Ben, you're number 2 this week.
Yeah, it's going to be another co-host here, Mike Haber. To me, tremendous job just playing the score, playing to the score beautifully, knowing what he was up against with Ari, holding off Pete Alonso, acknowledging what he had to do on the pitching side. And I especially I love seeing how a manager says, okay, like, this guy's pitching better than me this week. How can I figure out a way to, and even still come away with ERA? He didn't have to work hard on the relief side. He knew that, but still, he came very, very close in whip. He almost got that one too, but he managed to squeak away with the innings pitched. And his hitting was good enough here. So I just love the way he managed against Ari, knowing that this is Ari's style. How am I going to work off that? And I think he just did a great job.
Thank you.
I agree. I agree completely. Mike, you're not going to make my top 3 either, but it was a very good win over Ari this week. Who do you have clocking in at number 2 for you?
Number 2, I am going to go with. Oh, I'm torn. I'm gonna go with Ben. Hey, let's give it to each other, Ben.
Thanks.
Phrasing.
What? Phrasing. Let's award each other this prestigious honor.
There you go.
Okay. Well, is there a reason?
Yeah, of course. No, so again, the coming in as kind of like the offensive underdog, and then to take a lot of those offensive categories and kind of take most of them, even up until the end.
Yeah.
And to navigate to 47 innings without Scherzer and Kershaw, still pitch to an ERA under 3 is phenomenal. So hats off, Ben.
What was my batting average on the bench this week again, Joe?
That's find out. You, Ben, had a 125 batting average. 6 for 48. It was strong.
48. Right.
Yep. My number 2 is going to go to Christian Wood this week, taking over first place. I mean, how can we not give it to the 20-year-old kid who's come in here and just taken the world by storm? Christian gets another 2 points here. All right, it's that time of week for number 1s. Benjamin, who is it?
The bounty hunter picking off the week. Got to give it to Frank here. He just did a great job here, dealing with a guy that was hitting the crap out of the ball from last week against Ari. Sherman did more of that. He batted 271. He had 9 dingers, 35 RBIs, 27 runs, 351 on base. Frank couldn't compete with the on base and the RBIs, but he could get through some of the other ones. 13 beautiful dingers, 33 runs. 47 strikeouts was good to hold down against the 55 strikeouts on the batting side. And then Frank noticed it quickly that Sherman was pitching like crap and he wasn't going to be getting out of that hole. And Frank said, okay, I'm not only going to win ERA, but I'm going to slowly find a way to also grab innings, to also grab strikeouts, to also grab walks given up, while still holding on to ERA and WHIP.
Yeah.
He lost by 1 relief appearance. That's a bummer. He's probably frustrated by that, but Frank is good at looking at this the right way. It's a double up. Forget about that one stat. He got a lot of good stats here to be able to hold down that ERA, but still win the pitching, the innings pitched, the strikeouts, the walks given up. Beautiful job on that side. Holding serve on the offensive side against a hot team. Can't ignore it. Number 1 for me, the bounty hunter, Frank Bucco.
Strong work from Frank. Mike Haber, who is your number 1 here?
I got to agree with Ben here. I'm going with Frank for all the same reasons he said, and honorable mention to Christian Wood, who did not make the list, but also honorable mention to Jimmy Dunlap, who did not make the list, but really, really fought back. And I didn't feel good giving it to someone that lost, but
yeah,
if he flipped one more category, I would have absolutely given it to him.
Yeah, then he's number 1 for me.
Yeah.
I guess then it's weird that my number 1 is going to be Brian Lebo. Brian went through a hell of an emotional roller coaster this week and still comes out with a win. And if it isn't for a terrible Aroldis Chapman appearance in the final game of the final day of the week, he's putting up a huge win over Jimmy Dunlap. And he can't really control what Aroldis Chapman does on the mound. He can't see that coming. So having an 18-1 lead over Jimmy on Wednesday and putting Jimmy on his heels doesn't negate the fact that it's only a 1 category win, but given everything else that's going on and the things he couldn't control to cause what happened on Sunday, I have to give him the rest of the week and say that for 6 days and the vast majority of Sunday, Brian was the better manager for that matchup and ran into some tough. So my hat is off to Brian Lebo. You are the number 1 manager of the week for me. And with that comes 3 points. We have a lot of names on this list now, guys, because we did not have too much bleed over from the 3 of us. We all have different names on this. So I'm just going to take a moment and add up some scores here. Christian getting 4 more points moves him to 33 overall. Josh does not get any this week. Jason does not get any this week. I don't get any. Ben, you got a 2 spot. That puts you in double digits. Benji, you're at 10. Chris Levy, nope. Mike Haber, yep, you're going to get a 2 spot. That puts you at 8. McCloskey gets 1. Jimmy does not. Bobby gets another 3. That puts him at 6. Frank, big old win there, gets him 5. Levo gets a 3 spot. All right, we're going to take a look at the...
Were you grabbing Mike's last week? Is that why you said Bobby gets a 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, here we are. Here's the standings. Christian's still at top of the leaderboard at 33. Josh, Jason, myself, and Ben all with double digits. Chris Levy, Mike Haber, Bobby, James McCloskey, Frank, Jimmy, and Levo all with points. Losey, Ari, and Sherman get to get on the board. And then if we look at the tracker, the biggest jump this week comes from our co-host Ben Nisman, who jumped 3 spots this week with his big win, and the biggest loser, Jason Ashby, with his loss, dropped 3 spots as well. Any questions on who led the week in any categories? Because I have that information every week now too.
I led in doubles.
Yes, like I said,
That's all
you
I know.
lead. Other than Bobby in week 1, who had 23 because there were 10 days, you have the most in the season. And then I also have a tracker for the fewest and worst categories as well. Worst batting average every week.
It's got to be me usually.
Only twice.
Wow.
So a third of the time.
There's one I was definitely under 200 a couple of weeks. So
yeah,
might have been someone else.
Guys, that'll do it for week 6. Thank you so much for being here with me. Mike Haber, you're staying up late again past your curfew. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yep, so happy to be here talking baseball with you guys. Thrilled that we're in the thick of it now, and can't wait. I hope I see both of you, in some meaningful matchups later on in the season. So.
Oh, I think it's without question that we'll be seeing you in some meaningful matchups, regardless of whether you're in a playoff hunt, because the most dangerous Mike Haber is a Mike Haber who has nothing to lose. And if you're trying to play spoiler this year, that's frightening to think about. Ben Nisman, thank you as well for being here. I appreciate you so much.
It's a pleasure as always. Thank you for setting it up and getting us going, Joe, getting us excited for it. Like I said before, I get excited about things like Mike Haber versus Frank Bucco. Like that's something for me to be excited about. My first and second place managers this week, seeing what directions their seasons might go after this week. Thinking about that for 7 days. I don't know why, but that's what this league does. It just gets you pumped about living vicariously through the other teams, the other players, and their own emotions and their own frustrations. This podcast just puts it on that whole new level after we talk about it, break it down, analyze each matchup each week. Can't thank you enough, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to do it. And we are, Mike, we are in the thick of things now. This really feels like we're going through the grind now. Can't be more excited. Thank you so much to the league. Thank you guys so much for staying up with me.
The grind is on, boys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, click that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you know when we upload new content and when we go live like we did last night. For those of you listening on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, apparently there's something called Blabbermouth out there or something. I don't know. I'm going to find all of the weird ones that we're on too, and I'll let you know what they are. But all of you folks listening, thank you so much. Go ahead and share this with your league mates or don't. Either way, we love you and appreciate you as well. To those of you listening from the Doubleday Pro League, I'm trading Mike Trout in that league, and I'm going to get myself a couple of keepers and a couple of draft picks, boys. I have to show you this thing. It is absolutely insane. I talked a lot about it last night on the live with Frank Bucco, and those guys are watching. Those guys are listening. Those guys are excited to have some crossover maybe next season. Who knows? But we're excited about that as well. Follow us on TikTok for outtakes and hot takes. Follow us on Instagram. And until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.